Okay, as per okay, as per VTU, only two topics are left in this. Okay, but I'll be sharing you some more important, not so important, but very relevant to this time. Few things about artificial intelligence and machine learning and other stuffs. So that is not included in it. It was included in the syllabus the last year, but they have removed it. They have changed the subject as well. So some things are there, some things are not there. But I'll just go through them. Okay. Okay. So let's start. Okay, my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
No. Uh, second. Now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So let's start. Okay. In this, I'll complete this and then start with the revision of this entire module. Okay. So today, this is regarding the ETF, electronic fund transfer. In this, the most heard term is NEFT, okay, National Electronic Fund Transfer. Okay, this is the fund transfer which happens electronically. This was not case a long time ago, but it was introduced after the advent of internet. After late 90s, it was introduced in India. So when internet came in 1990, 1991, so after some time, internet was getting adopted by all the industries. So banking industry also adopted this, and with the advent of that, the very first kind of usage of internet was the electronic fund transfer. Okay, it was a revolution kind of a thing before 2000, and later on with with NEFT, RTGS also got added up. Then this IMPS, immediate payment service, using mobile phone, also get in 2010. It was implemented, and then it was made public from around 2011 or so. IMPS services. Okay, so I'll just go through what is EFT. First of all, electronic fund transfer. It is basically the money which has been exchanged from one account to another account holder. Okay, one person is wants to give some money to other person, but those two person are not in the vicinity and not staying here nearby. So they are transferring that amount using bank, and that bank uses the internet or the computer system, and the computer system to transfer that amount. Okay, very basic thing, everyone might be knowing this. Okay, the person who is going to the bank, he can be a savings depositor or a current depositor of that bank. Maybe he can be a customer of that bank, or he might not be a customer of that bank. Okay, so both kind of person can do NEFT. Okay, and the person who to whom the money has been transferred, he should compulsory be the customer or the client or the deposit holder of that bank. Okay, so the person who is receiving, he should be the depositor, or he should be the client of that bank, or customer of that bank. Okay, so that is the basic necessity. Okay, nowadays we have too many bank accounts, so no need. So everyone yeah. So, yeah, sorry. So everyone has one or the other bank accounts. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. So everyone has some of the other bank accounts. So it will not be a problem nowadays. Okay. So in this, I'm going to talk about NEFT, and the similar process happens in RTGS and IMPS also. There are few modifications in that. Okay. First of all, as a, so I'll start at 25. 627. Okay, anyways. Okay, now imagine, okay, this is a bank, this is a customer. Okay, he wants to transfer this amount, okay, to this customer. Okay, they are very far off. They cannot, he cannot deliver cash to him. So he is approaching a bank. Okay, and when he goes to the bank, the formality, just I'll go through. The formality is they will have a NEFT slip. Okay, he will fill that slip. He'll fill the account number of this person. Okay, ये A है, ये B है. Then he will, a person will fill the formalities. He will do the what do you say? Fill the NEFT slip and enter the details of B and the details of bank of B. Then he will give the slip along with the money, or if he is the account holder of that bank, the money will be deducted from his bank account, and he will the bank will give a return, kind of a receipt that the money will be transferred to him, and then yeah, just a second. Okay, okay, sir. 20th, yes, sir. Okay, sorry. I'll begin once again. Okay, there is a person A. Okay, he wants to transfer money to person B. Okay, there is a bank. The person A will be approaching, and then he will be filling the NEFT details, NEFT slip. In that, it will he will enter the details of the bank of B and B's account number, and then he will get a return slip saying that the amount will be transferred. And after that, bank will do something. That something I'll discuss. Then after that, something this bank will give money to him, or the money will be deposited in his account. Okay, anything, both of the thing can happen. Okay, this person A can have an account in B, or he may not have account in B. He can just take cash and give it to bank, and then request for NEFT transaction. Okay, now this is not the process of NEFT actually. Okay, now once he gives the money to the bank, or he fills the NEFT slip, then this bank will send a instruction. Okay, the money is not getting transferred. The money is only here. Okay, the money is not getting transferred now. The money is still here. The bank will give instruction to a polling station. Okay, a polling station will be there. That polling station will collect the information. Oh, sorry. So that polling station will collect the information, and then it will just pass on to the main center. Okay, RBI center, which is located in Mumbai. Okay, it will send the instruction to RBI, and that RBI will send some instruction to another polling center. Okay, and that polling center will send another instruction to this bank, and this bank in turn will give money to him or deposit money to his account. Okay, just the initial phase. Okay, so first thing is, an individual is approaching a bank for the NEFT transfer. He fills the application form and do stuff, and then the second step is this bank will send a message, okay, to the polling center, polling station, and this polling station forwards this message to this clearing center of RBI. Okay, and this RBI will then do the clearing and all sorts of transfer transactions and everything, and then it will inform another polling center which is in the vicinity of this bank, and this bank will deposit the money into his account or give money to his account. And this polling center, okay, so these are many banks here in this vicinity. All this bank will be reporting to this polling center. Okay, maybe a Belgaum region, this might be the polling station, or North Karnataka, this might be the polling station. Okay, there might be other set of banks also, other set of banks. Okay, they will have a separate pooling center. Okay, and this pooling center also informs this RBI. Okay, similarly, there will be other banks as well, and they will this pooling center will inform them. Okay, and suppose it can happen that there is a customer here, okay, who is having a bank account here, and he wants to transfer to this person A. So it will go like this. The process will go like this, the same way. Okay, chalo, any doubts, whatever I have explained here, only about it. Okay, so once again, okay, there is a person, okay, he wants to transfer some amount to this person. Yes, yes, sir. There is a person, he wants to transfer some amount to this person. He will go to a bank, okay, and in that, he will go to a bank. This bank will give instruction to a polling center, okay. Then polling center will give information to the main clearing house of RBI, and this RBI will again in turn inform a polling center. This again will in turn inform a bank, and then the money will be deposited. Now this entire process, okay, takes around 5 to 10 minutes. So there are NEFT cycles starting from 8:30 in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening. So from 8:30 to 6, within every half an hour, this money is being transferred actually. But as the internet has been improved a lot and the connectivity has been improved a lot, even in NEFT transaction, we get money in 1 or 2 minutes nowadays. But the NEFT cycle is still half an hour. Suppose you you do a NEFT transaction at 9:15, the money will be included in the transaction of 9:30 cycle. So at 9:30, this person should get the amount. Okay, or if you are doing at 9:31, then the person will get amount at 10 o'clock. But due to the improvement in the internet facility, the NEFT transaction is happening very fast. Now, what is happening to money? Okay, this person is depositing money or has account or has given cash to this bank. The money is not flowing like this. Only the instructions are flowing like this. Okay, and this bank will give money from its own bank, own accounts. Okay, and then later on, this bank and this first bank and the second bank will later on in the evening do the netting. Okay, what is netting? Okay, suppose there are 5 transactions from this bank to this bank, and okay, we'll take only 5 transactions. Okay, suppose 2000 is being transferred from this to this bank. Okay, so this bank should give 2000 here. Okay, so he will get 2000, this B. There are 2. This is this bank and this B is this bank. So this bank will get 2000. Okay, then later on some other person came to this bank and want to do NEFT of 5000. So 5000 should flow from this bank to this bank. So this bank in the second transaction is liable to get 5000. Okay, again one more person came to this bank to transfer maybe again 5000 to this bank. Okay, this bank again will get 5000. Okay, and the fourth transaction again 1000, one person came to this bank to transfer 1000 to this bank. Okay, so in the fourth transaction 1000 he will get, and again one more person came to this bank to transfer 1000 to this bank again. So there are total 5 transactions with in between these 2 banks. Okay, so total 5000, so total 5 transactions. Now it will be a stupid thing that this bank will give 2000, then this bank will give 5000, then again 5000, again this bank will give again 1000 and again 1000. So what they'll do netting. How much this bank should get from this bank? It is 10,000 rupees. Okay, so 10,000 should be there with this bank from this, and how much this bank is liable to get? 2, 3, 4, 4,000. Okay, so this bank will receive 10,000, this bank will receive 4,000. So in net, 10,000 minus 6,000. Okay, so sorry, 10,000 minus 4,000, which is 6,000. So this bank will get finally 6,000 rupees from this bank. Okay, so this is what netting they do at the end of the day. So the money is not transferred for every NEFT transaction. It gets transferred only after end of the day, and they do netting. Okay, this they do reconciliation. Okay, forget reconciliation. They do netting. Okay, so the entire money is transferred only at the end of the day between the banks. There might be another bank, B2. There might be some transaction between this and this bank also. So even they will do netting. How much I am liable to pay to this bank, or how much I am liable to pay to this bank. Okay, so this is what is there in NEFT. Okay, from the customer point of view and from the bank point of view, and this netting and everything transaction is being stored with the clearing center. Okay, so this was about the NEFT. Okay, so I expect any doubts from you. Who is waiting? No one can wait. It is auto advertised. Okay. Okay, any doubts? Have you listened to this? This first time I'm explaining it online, so I'm not sure whether you have understood or not. Can anyone reply whether you have understood the NEFT? There is no, it's not that difficult.
No doubt, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubts?
No
Okay.
doubt, sir, we understood.
Okay. Because the first time I explained like this, so okay, good. Now this NEFT transaction happens for smaller amounts. Okay, because there might be hundreds of customers coming, at least 50 customers might come to this bank to transfer some 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 5,000, 1,000. So this bank is getting money. Okay, even, and this bank is giving money to the people who are liable to get the money after any NEFT transaction. So this bank is giving maybe 5,000 to someone, 2,000 to someone, 10,000 to someone. So there should be money with this bank also to give away to the customers. Okay, so NEFT transaction is what do you say? They do the netting in the evening, so they should have some money with them also for the other customers. So there is a limit for NEFT transactions. Below 2 lakhs, okay, any transaction can be done using NEFT. Okay, so any amount which is lesser than 2 lakhs can be transferred through the National Electronic Fund Transfer. Okay, any money above 2 lakhs, okay, then that needs to be done by the RTGS. That stands for real-time gross settlement. Okay, so I just explained you the 5 steps of NEFT. So I'll go through it. Step 1 is the person coming to the bank to deposit money, or that person is using his mobile phone, or that person is using any other facility like ATM facility. Like in some of the ATMs also, NEFT this NEFT application is there. So whatever it is, the person is getting the first instruction, giving the first instruction to bank along with the money to transfer the amount, and is entering the details of that customer. In the second step, bank is giving the instruction to the pooling center. In the third step, pooling center is giving all the information of the banks received to the main clearing house, that this account number and this IFSC, this NEFT process needs to be done, all those things. So in clearinghouse, then clearinghouse is informing the receiving pooling station, okay, that money needs to be given to this person or SSO. Then and that happens in fourth step. Then in fifth step, the bank receives the information and gives it to the customer. The money gives it to they give the money to the customers. This happens in the NEFT transaction. Okay, and there is a limit of 2 lakhs rupees here. In RTGS, there is, if you want to transfer more than 2 lakhs, there is no upper limit in RTGS. Okay, you can transfer any amount if you have. So there above 2 lakhs, anything you want to transfer, then it will be a real-time basis. Okay, and that what do you say? There is a charges for that. Okay, because a bank needs to have that money, and sometimes a bank borrows money for that also from other branches or some for the RTGS transaction. If I'm transferring maybe 50 lakhs of rupees using RTGS real time gross settlement, then the person who is receiving that 50 lakhs of rupees, that bank should have that 50 lakh of rupees. Okay, so the charges apply in this transaction, and the process is 90% same, which is there in NEFT. It is just that the netting doesn't happen here. At the end of the day, the bank immediately receives the amount from the transferee bank. Okay, so if I consider this as the RTGS process, okay, so the money which has been deposited into this bank, the netting will not happen directly. This money will be transferred to this bank. Okay, online itself, not the cash. Okay, online the money will be transferred to this bank, and he will receive maybe in cash or maybe in his account. Okay, so bank if the bank doesn't have any cash, then the bank needs to borrow money from some other branch or something they need to do, but it will happen within a half an hour or 45 minutes, but he will receive the money, and the bank will also receive the money. Only the instruction is not getting passed. Along with the instruction, the money is also getting passed to this bank. Okay, and the clearing and settlement happens very rapidly in RTGS. So any amount which is greater than 2 lakhs, there is a real-time gross settlement. Okay, so there is no netting happens in RTGS. So I'll just go through. Real time means the processing of instruction at the time they are received rather than sometime later. RTGS transaction are processed continuously through RTGS business hours. The minimum amount to be remitted through RTGS is 2 lakhs. Okay, so okay. 2 lakhs. Okay, so below 2 lakhs it is NEFT, above 2 lakhs it is RTGS. There is no upper ceiling for RTGS. Under normal circumstances, the beneficiary branches are expected to receive the funds in real time as soon as funds are transferred by remitting bank. Okay, so immediately the funds will be received by the transferred bank, by the remitting bank who is giving the instructions. Okay, this happens in RTGS. Okay, I'll just go through IMPS. Okay, IMPS I have not included. IMPS is immediate payment service. When mobile phones were invented and when internet was added into that, and when the 2.5G connection started, okay, 1.5G connection started, then it was called, yes sir. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay. Oh, okay, sorry, Rohit sir was there. IMPS, when mobile got very much, when mobile were invented, and when internet was started inbuilding into the mobile phone connection, when we got GPRS to 1.5G connection. So in 1.5G there was some internet connection. So during that time there was a pilot study, or the experiment was going on, whether mobiles can be used for banking. Okay, so mobile banking then got introduced. So in 2010, there was under the governor, RBI governor, there was a experiment or a pilot study done for the transaction of money using they called it as NEFT at that time. So using NEFT, using mobile phone, NEFT transactions can be done or not. So it was successful at that time, and so they implemented this IMPS later. Now this NEFT takes place, as I've told you, from 8:30 in the morning to 6 o'clock. Now RTGS also takes from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock to 5:30 somewhat. Okay, so in the banking hours, basically RTGS and NEFT. But now, as IMPS got introduced, IMPS has a server which automatically does the transaction. And in also IMPS, 1 lakh was the limit, but recently they have increased the limit. Okay, like in NEFT, from 1 rupee to 2 lakh of rupees, less than 2 lakh of rupees, NEFT transaction can be done. 2 lakhs to there is no upper limit. RTGS transactions can be done. So from 1 rupee to 1 lakh of rupee, IMPS transactions can be done. So recently they have increased the IMPS transaction limit also. So IMPS has inbuilt server, so the transaction happens 24 by 7, 24 into 7. So anytime in the night time, in the early morning, you can do the transactions using IMPS. The process also same remains the same, which happens in NEFT. Okay, even in that only the instructions are passed, and later on the netting is done between the banks, even in IMPS. Okay, what else? Yeah, well, that's it. TJS, NEFT, and IMPS. Okay, NEFT process is quite important. It's not that difficult, but important from the exam point of view. Okay, I'll just run through this, and this is not that much included in your syllabus, but sometime it comes. What is the performance analysis of bank? Now, how you measure the performance analysis? Now, those who will be doing your main project in banks, then you will, or you might have done internship also in banks. So you might have done any one of this. Okay. So what is financial performance? Financial performance is the financial strength of that bank which you will be looking. How much assets are there? How many liabilities are there? What is the how many deposits are there, what is the strength of the financial strength of the bank, using the ratios you we calculate. So the way we check the financial strength of a company, similarly we will check the financial performance or financial strength of that bank, and how the process, how the loan recovery is happening, how the depositors are opening up the accounts, what are the different schemes the bank is providing to attract customers. So what kind of fixed deposits and recurring deposits and what kind of other deposits are there. So how the financially the bank is improving, that we check into this financial performance. Next is loan portfolio. Loan portfolio mein, we check what is the how much is the loan portfolio of that bank. That means how many people have taken loan from that bank and which kind of loan they have taken and what is the tenure it is there. For example, car loans and home loans and agriculture loans and education loans and what do you say, personal loans, and any business loans. So what kind of loan portfolio they have? So what is the mixture in that loans? How many kinds of home loans at what rate of interest, and what is the amount and what is the tenure? So everything that makes a portfolio, okay, of a loan of a bank. So what is that portfolio and how much is the non-performing assets? How many people are not paying back the loan? How many loans are being paid on time? So all those things will be checked in this loan portfolio. Okay. Then there is a capital adequacy. Capital adequacy is the capital which is there with the bank. Capital in the sense cash is there with the bank. Okay, at any point of time the bank can use that cash to maybe to use in any kind of transaction, RTGS transaction also, or it can give loan to other banks. Okay, and or it might give loan to RBI as well if RBI is in need of money, using that repo and reverse repo rate I have told you. So what is the capital with the bank? So what is the capital adequacy? Okay, this capital adequacy is in the terms of deposits itself. Okay, then gap analysis. So gap analysis is in the terms of interest rate, what we do. So what is the deposits interest rate and what is the interest rate on which loan is being provided by the bank? What is the gap between that rate? So 6% is maybe the deposit rate of Kotak Mahindra, and maybe 10% interest on an average. 10% is the interest rate which the Kotak Mahindra Bank is providing loan to the customers. So 6% and 10%. So 4% is the gap. So that analysis will be done. Okay, I just told you on an average. So there will be a different kind of depositors. So different kind of interest rate. There will be different kind of borrowers. So there will be a different kind of interest rate. For home, it will be different. For education, there will be different interest rate. So that analysis will be done in this. Okay, next is banking industry analysis, the entire industry. Okay, many of you get confused between industry and a company. Okay, again I'll repeat. Industry consists of all the companies who are performing similar kind of activities. Okay, so banking industry will comprise of all the banks which are performing the banking activities, banking or the financial activities. Okay. The non-banking, there will be companies, financial companies who doesn't do the work of bank. That means they don't take deposits and they don't give loans, but they do some activity which is related to finance, like helping the people to raise loans or the providing some financial assistance or any kind of financial. They are called as NBFCs, non-banking financial companies. Okay, I guess it is there in third or fourth of fifth module, I guess. So we'll study there. Okay, what is NBFCs? Okay, so banking sector analysis में robust economy. Okay, how is the economy doing? First of all, the entire economy. Then what is the population size? What is the operational efficiency? And what are the digitization? Now when you want to open up a bank, first of all you need to analyze what is the economic situation of that area or of that country or of that state. Then what is the population of that area where you are going to open up a bank. Then what is the operational efficiency, the people who are working there, whether efficiently they can work, what the people who are coming in, the people who are working, what is the efficiency, and digitization. Okay, and that we analyze in the banking sector analysis. Okay, then lastly, the recent developments in banking sector. We have developed this electronic checks, fund transfers like NEFT and RTGS, telebanking, okay, telephone banking. Then mobile banking is introduced, and some purchases using credit card, debit card, smart cards, and ATM machines. These are the recent development in the banking sector. Not that recent. Okay, it has been maybe around 10 to 15 years. And then recent in the sense the bank, as the banks is there around maybe 80 to 90 years. So accordingly, within this 10 years, this developments has been made, past 10 years. Now, future of banking is when there is machine learning is there. Okay, when you go to your any mobile application of a bank, and then generally you do bill payments, so that machine will learn that this individual is generally opens up the banking application for paying of the bills, so that pay bills option will come at the top, recent transfer, recent used, or recently accessed apps, something like that. So that machine learning is there, and along with that, artificial intelligence is also included. Sometimes, if you are transferring to one person 5,000, and again in within a minute, again you are transferring 5,000 rupees to that same person. Again in a minute, you want to transfer 5,000 to that person, then the bank will stop the transaction. It will remind you that same amount is getting transferred. So is there any glitch in the software? So it will terminate the transaction. So that doesn't happen by any person. That's is done by the machine. So according to the artificial intelligence of that machine, that thing is being implemented. Then personalized service can be done. Okay, as per the customer requirement. Security is being improved in the bank, in the banking. Even now fingerprint, now one of my application of IDFC Bank, it doesn't open by pen, it opens by the thumbprint, okay, on my cell phone. So improved security measures have been done. And blockchain technology, about the Bitcoin. Okay, blockchain and Bitcoin are not same, but blockchain, okay, totally not included in your syllabus. You can just go through it if you're interested. Okay, I'll just run away with the syllabus. Okay, any doubts in this, you can just Google it and do. Not included in your syllabus. Okay, so that's it. I'll just run through this. Okay, if any doubts, you can ask me. That till why? Okay. So why RTGS is used even though there is facility of NEFT? Okay, I guess I have given answer for this. I'll just repeat it once again. RTGS is when the transfer is at a higher amount. Okay, more than 2 lakh of rupees. If you want to transfer, then RTGS process is used. Why RTGS process is used is a bank should have that money to give it to the customer. Okay, if customer is planning to transfer maybe not 2 lakhs, maybe 20 lakhs, so that bank who is liable to give to the customer, should have that 20 lakh of rupees or 30 or 50 or 1 crore of rupees. So in that process, the bank gets money from the other bank. Okay, in RTGS, in real time, the money is being transferred to that bank to give it to the customer. Okay. Mm, yeah, nowadays, if you select 2 lakh of rupees in NEFT, it gets transferred, but it automatically switches to RTGS sometimes. Nowadays, RTGS is also being made very cheap, and sometimes it is also provided free of cost by some banks. Now, even IMPS, as I was telling, now IMPS also 1 lakh was the limit, but nowadays they have increased it. Okay, that's the basic process of NEFT and RTGS. I've told you. Okay, as per the even now, as per the Banking Regulation Act, any amount which is need to be transferred lesser than 2 lakhs, it goes through NEFT channel, and any amount which is transferred above 2 lakhs, it goes through RTGS channel. Okay. Yeah, there might be some bank who might be providing more than 2 lakhs, but according to regulations, uh, it is more than 2 lakhs, it happens in RTGS. Okay, so they might be increasing the limit. Okay, maybe NEFT can be increased till 5 lakhs also. Okay, but in RTGS, the process is only one difference is there. In RTGS, real time, the bank is transferring the amount. In NEFT, at the end of the day, they are doing the netting. Okay, so the amount can vary as per the increase in the inflation and increase in the technology as well. Okay, so I'll just go through this. Sorry, sorry. Okay, in Unit 2, we have discussed this commercial banking structure, functions, primary, and these things. Then we went to scheduled banks, okay, and non-scheduled bank. Two types of commercial banks are there. Scheduled banks are all the types of banks which we know. Non-scheduled banks only for the theory purpose. Banks which are not included in the second schedule of Banking Regulation Act of 1949. Those banks are called as non-scheduled banks. Remaining all the banks who have been mentioned in this schedule of Banking Regulation Act of 1949, they are scheduled banks. So there are three types of that: public sector banks, private sector, and foreign banks. Okay. The functions, the primary functions of any bank is accepting deposits and giving loans and advances. The secondary functions include the investments of the funds, agency functions, and the miscellaneous functions. Okay, investments of funds, maybe they help in the opening up your demat trading account, your mutual funds, or any investment advisory services the bank can provide. Agency functions, may they can help in you paying off the bills, or opening up some, or there discounting of bills or happens, renewed transfer of money or something like that in agency function. In miscellaneous function, other benefits like even now agency miscellaneous function can also include the Aadhaar card you make in a bank. Okay, that is a miscellaneous function. You get a locker facility in a bank, so that has been included in the miscellaneous function. So mainly the type of deposits, the DTL, which I told you, okay, demand and time liabilities. Okay, as the deposits are called as the liabilities of the bank, the demand deposits are the D in that, and T stands for time. Okay. Okay, so remember DTL, demand and time liabilities, are the deposits. The time deposits are fixed deposits, fixed for a fixed tenure, recurring deposits. Every month, a person will be depositing money into his account as per his salary, and then after maybe 18 months or 24 months, he can withdraw that amount. Okay, it is kind of fixed deposits, but in fixed deposits, there is a lump sum amount is being put into that account, in fixed deposit account. In recurring deposits, every month some amount is being deposited and no amount has been withdrawn till the recurring deposits tenure gets completed. And cash certificates, okay, nowadays not that useful. Cash certificate is also a kind of a fixed deposits, but cash certificate is been put in some another's name, some other person's name, and it will be received by that person after a very long time. Okay. Then demand deposits, current deposits, and savings deposits. Okay, current deposits are will be at the transactions are very frequent and at a very large amount will be getting transacted. And savings account, in savings deposits, the transactions are very low. Okay, credit and debit, both the transaction will be very low. And generally, current deposits has been opened by the business, or the business people opens it, or the business accounts will be there. And savings deposits are generally salaried people and okay, normal commercial activity. Okay, then the next was giving of loans and advances. Okay, cash credit is being given. A credit on some goods will be given. Then loans and advances, okay, to the banks. Then overdraft facility. One, if a business is having some account in a bank, current account in a bank, and the 50,000 is there in that account, and the business wants to withdraw 55,000, and then 5,000 will be given as an advance or as an overdraft. And a small, maybe no interest is charged in overdraft, and so small interest is charged in the advances, okay, for that additional withdrawal of that money which the person doesn't have in his account. And and then discounting of bills is there. Okay, one shipper and one customer will be there. That customer has bought some amount from that shipper, and that shipper has received a certificate or that bill from that customer that he is going to pay in 1 month. Now that shipper is in immediate need of money. He cannot wait for 1 month, so he will approach a bank, and the bank will discount that bill. That bill may be of 10 lakh of rupees. The bank will discount it and give maybe 9,55,000 or 9,50,000, and 50,000 there will be a profit for bank. And after 1 month, the bank will receive that amount from the customer. So that is the discounting of bill. Then this functions. Then role of social commercial banks. Okay, so this is self-explanatory. I'll give you notes in maybe in 10 minutes now. Then after that, we dealt with the concept of universal banking. Okay, universal banking, I've told you, there will be one bank, one brand of a bank, okay, like ICICI, and that bank will have many facilities. And they will provide many facilities like normal banking activities, though it will be there, like deposits and giving of loans. Along with that banking activities, that bank will also have a division of securities, like ICICI Securities. That division will dealt with the demat and trading account in the securities market, in the derivatives market, in the OTC markets, forward option swaps, all those things that a securities branch of ICICI will do. So ICICI Securities will take care of that. Then there will be ICICI Prudential Life Insurance. There will be ICICI General Insurance. There will be maybe ICICI, what do you say, for the wire transaction, for the international transaction, ICICI Currency Exchange will be there. So everything will be under the umbrella of ICICI. So that kind of banking is called as universal banking, and it is very advantageous for the customer, because he will be very much comfortable, as he will be and he'll become a loyal customer to that bank, ICICI Bank. He might get a insurance for general insurance of ICICI. He may have life insurance also of ICICI. He may be having the deposits, and he might also take loan from the ICICI. He might open a securities account. He will be doing share market trading using ICICI Securities. So it is advantageous for ICICI to do a cross selling for them, and the ICICI will have data of that customer, whatever he is doing financially, what he is doing, what is his position. So there will be a trust from the customer point of view, and benefit from the banking point of view as well. So disadvantages is what, if this bank fails, if ICICI Bank fails, if one division fails, it will hamper all the other divisions. If the securities division fail, if some fraud happens, and SEBI imposes any penalty, and it stops the trading, or stops the customer accounts, or the blocks the demand account of that ICICI Securities, then it will hamper the ICICI banking activities as well, because the same customers will be there. Or else the money can be transferred by within the sections of that bank. If there is many deposits, and maybe life insurance division is in need of money, because they need to pay to the insurer some amount. So then that depositor's money can be used by the ICICI Prudential Life Insurance, and that can be used. So that should not happen. The mixing of money should not happen. So generally it happens. So that's why there was a global economic crisis in 2008. Okay, we'll discuss it using during sixth module in securitization. How this money should not flow in between these sections. Okay, the money should be there for one thing. Okay, if banking activities is there, the money will be utilized in the banking activity itself. Okay, so this is the concept of universal bank. Then this home banking, ATMs, internet banking, mobile banking. Okay, you know all this. Then electronic payment system. Okay, in detail we did today. Okay, and then check truncation. Check truncation, only two lines I need to say you. Check which has been given by one person to another person, and that person gives that check to the bank. That physical check will not be transferred once it reaches the bank. When bank reaches that check, they will scan it using MICR code or using MICR code or using image processing. Okay, so and then because of that, the physical check will be converted into an electronic form, and then the electronic form of check will be used for the transactions between the banks. Okay, and that physical check will be stored in bank. So this is what MICR code. It is actually yeah, it is a 9-digit code. Okay, which represents. Okay, I guess you can see this. Okay, so this is the check number and this is the MICR code which has been written. It's a 9-digit code which represents the bank. The first two digit represents the state, the next two district, and the bank and the branch. Like that, it is there. Okay, so in every check, this code will be there. Using this MICR code, this check will be scanned, and all the amounts, all the details of this check will be saved in an electronic form, and that check will be that electronic form check will be circulated within the banks. Okay, so this encoding and decoding of this check is only done at the banking side. The customer cannot do all those things. The customer need to use this physical check. Okay, then okay, then we did about today. Okay, again NEFT transactions, then RTGS, NEFT. Okay, one person wants to transfer some money, so it will go to the bank. The bank will use the instructions, and the person will get the money within every half an hour cycle. But nowadays it happens very fast. RTGS is the real-time gross settlement. When NEFT transactions, when the transaction amount gets increases, then the real-time money is to be transferred from one bank to another bank. So above 2 lakh any transaction, then RTGS come into play. Okay, below 2 lakhs it is NEFT. Above 2 lakhs it is RTGS. And this NEFT and RTGS generally takes place during banking hours. Okay, nowadays NEFT also takes after banking hours also, and because of the advent of the IMPS. So an IMPS is the immediate payment service using mobile phones, and even in internet banking, IMPS is included. So it happens 24/7, and the process remains same of IMPS. There is a limit. There was a limit of 1 lakh in IMPS. Now they have increased the limit to 2 lakhs also, and sometimes and 2 lakhs. Okay, then we did okay, this was out of syllabus, but just a performance analysis of a bank, industry analysis, and the recent development in banking sector, and what is the future of banking. Okay, machine learning and artificial intelligence is there. Okay, any doubts here? Okay, one more thing, again out of syllabus, there is a transaction like we have IFSC code. Okay, you know what is IFSC code? It is a location. It represents the location of a bank. When you when you want to do an NEFT transaction, you require two important things in that. First is account number of that person and IFSC code of that bank. Okay, and then maybe the name of the person also. Okay, but these two things are important: account number and IFSC code. Account number gives the information of the individual who has the account of the bank with that bank, and IFSC code gives the information to which branch the person has the account. So IFSC code represents in the entire country where is the branch of that bank is situated. So similarly, for the international transaction, there is no IFSC code. Okay, there is like NEFT I'm talking about, there is a transaction called as wire transaction. Okay, worldwide. Okay, wire transaction. It is for any foreign transaction, worldwide interbank transfer rate transfer. Okay, wire transaction is there. So in wire transaction, it reaches bank and agency around the world. Okay, so when wire transaction has been happening, similarly NEFT जैसे wire transaction है, and also in wire transaction there is a flow of what do you say, signals or information through within the banks around the world, and for a wire transaction like we have any IFSC code for NEFT transaction, we have SWIFT code. Okay, for wire transaction, SWIFT, SWIFT. Okay, it is a secure SWIFT. Okay, we have SWIFT code. Using that SWIFT code, we can identify which branch is there and in which country it is located and which city it is located, and what is the code of that. Okay, like for Japan, it is not coming here. Yeah, Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Transaction. It is a SWIFT code. SWIFT code will look something, okay, something like this. BOTK Okay, just an example. Okay, BOTK stands for Bank of Tokyo. BOTK, Bank of Tokyo in Japan, and in that district, some district was there. Okay, JP stands for Japan and JT stands for that area. Okay, so something like this IFSC, similar to IFSC code, a SWIFT code will be there in international transaction. Okay, not related to a syllabus, but I just wanted to tell you how international transaction also happens. Okay, so similar thing happens in that. The process is also very much similar in wire transaction and what happens in NEFT also. NEFT. Okay, very similar. Okay, any doubts? Or shall I close the session? Okay. Okay, say something.
No doubt, sir.
Okay, so I'll share you this PDF now. Okay, you study these two modules. I guess I have included, yeah, in second module also I have included the important questions. Okay, apart from that important questions, I past maybe 3-4 years, nothing has come out of it, and this subject has been changed quite a lot. There were actually two subjects 2 years back, principle and practices of banking and investment banking and financial services. Then last year they merged this. Then this time again they have changed the syllabus. Okay, so the important questions, you refer that itself. Okay, for the exam point of view, and anything extra you want, you can inform. Okay, so that's it from my side. Okay, shall I close the meeting?